Alex, good afternoon. Richarlison done and dusted just as we came on air this morning. We know that. But I think Spurs and Everton both involved in the race for another footballer this lunchtime, and he is Jesse Lingard. Am I right?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jim. There's certain players that we seem to talk about day in, day out in this transfer window. Frankie de Jong, Manchester United is one. Jesse Lingard rapidly becoming another. Officially, today is the first day that he becomes a free agent. His Manchester United contract expired yesterday. They've already said their farewells. We know that he isn't to be offered a new deal at Old Trafford. And he's quite a sought-after player as a free agent. West Ham, very keen. Everton, as you've mentioned as well, keeping tabs on his situation. And Tottenham, who've been just about the busiest club in the Premier League in this transfer window so far. I would suggest the latter of those is unlikely. In fact, I've been told this morning that West Ham remains Jesse Lingard's priority. He had a fantastic loan spell under David Moyes. Would like to go back there. But it comes back to the point that we made a week or so ago. The wage demands of Jesse Lingard in excess of £150,000 a week. So which of those clubs is in the best place to give him what he wants? What I can tell you is that David Moyes, having pulled out of the race for Arnaut Danjuma, we spoke about that one yesterday at Villarreal, he too is very keen on a reunion with Jesse Lingard. So West Ham looks the most likely, but it might come down to wage demands.
I mean, should we be surprised, Danny, that Lingard is demanding a wage of 150 a week or in that region?
He can demand what he wants. He can demand 250 grand a week if he wants. If someone's not going to pay it, though, you have to be careful when you're in that situation, because he's not in that bracket of top class. We have to have him. We want him in no matter what. He's that sort of next bracket or two down. You think, well, yeah, he's a good player. He'll probably make our squad better. But are we prepared to break the bank for that when we can probably get similar sort of standard for half the cost of that? There might be a transfer fee involved, admittedly, within that, but maybe for somebody younger.
So he's no longer a special talent.
I don't,
he once looked.
No, I don't think he is. He had a good spell at West Ham, but he's not been in around the United side for some time. So I think you look at it and go, he's got to be careful that he doesn't price himself out of the market, because he could end up in that situation where West Ham go, well, no, we're out. Everton go, we're out. Spurs go, we're out. Then where does he go?
And then what?
It's an interesting one, because Danny's right. But it's interesting, Alex. Do you think that West Ham would have paid, say, £10 million for him last summer if United were prepared to sell him or Lingard was prepared to have gone? Do you think West Ham would have paid that?
I think they probably would, Simon.
And then they'd have had to pay him 100 grand a week, 120 grand a week. They'd have suffered depreciation of £2.5 million a year. So what Jesse Lingard's doing is saying, the fact you didn't have to pay any money for me, I can find landing in my salary, and West Ham would be in the exact same position. But the challenge is that West Ham then set a precedent on wages, and they already had that big thing with Kurt Zouma last year about 130 grand being something they didn't want to go near, and then it has a knock-on effect to the rest of the squad, doesn't it, Alex?
Yeah, and it's a similar situation up at Newcastle as well. They looked at Jesse Lingard earlier in the window. My understanding is their interest has cooled significantly because of those wage demands, because one of the big things that Eddie Howe doesn't want to do is smash the pay structure and therefore cause disharmony in the dressing room. It's a really difficult balancing act, and there's a lot of free agents on the market who will be, or as you say, Simon, hoping to get maximum value because there's no transfer fee involved.
Something tells me, Alex, he'll land at West Ham. What about Raheem Sterling this Friday lunchtime? Is he about to land at Chelsea?
Yeah, I think he's on his way to London as well, Jim. Not done yet, but I think we're getting there when it comes to Raheem Sterling. £55 million is the fee that's been mentioned to me. Manchester City willing, I think, to let Sterling go. He is in the final year of his contract, so he could be in a Jesse Lingard situation next summer, although that would appear unlikely. I think this is a smart bit of business by Chelsea. It's being led directly, I'm told, by Todd Bowley. I think it's a significant statement of intent from the new owner. Of course, he's taking on these transfer negotiations. And for Raheem Sterling, some people may say, and I know Trevor Sinclair is of this opinion, why would you leave Manchester City? Why would you leave Pep Guardiola? Why would you leave the champions? Because he wants guaranteed minutes. And there's so much competition for places at Manchester City. There's that World Cup coming up at the end of the year. I think Sterling is a shoe-in to start for Gareth Southgate anyway, but he wants to go somewhere where he's going to be the main
Trevor
man.
Sinclair, I can tell you, Alex came out of studio this morning after being in breakfast and was asking those very, very questions, and all of us, to a man, to a woman, ignored him. Danny, what do you think? Sterling to Chelsea. To Sinclair, of course, anybody that doesn't go near Manchester City or doesn't want to be part of Manchester City any longer, Trevor breaks down. But Raheem to Chelsea.
I think it's a great. I think it's a fabulous signing for Chelsea. I think he goes straight into their starting 11 and plays in that, because they're Havertz plays as the false 9. In and around that, it's a little bit bitty for them. You're not quite sure. Is it Werner? Is it Doy? Is it who? Don't quite know who plays in those positions. Is it Pulisic at times?
I forgot about Hudson-Odoi.
They do you know what I mean? They chop and change all the time. So I think Sterling goes in there with experience, with a fantastic record, and he's going to play. Simple as that. He was not marginalised. I said at the start of last season that I think he would play 30-odd games, and he played about that. But he was, some of the big games he didn't play in. He was marginalised at times, and he's probably thinking, like, I'm 27, prime of my career. Man City aren't going to offer me another 4 or 5 year deal.
Sure.
But Chelsea will. I'll be playing Champions League football.
Yeah.
I'll be playing, you're never a guaranteed starter, but if I'm in form, I'm a guaranteed starter.
Makes sense for him and Chelsea.
And Manchester City going, well, we've got enough quality in those areas that we can afford to let him go.
I would agree with you. What about Nathan Ake? We're right this lunchtime, Alex. Do Manchester City really want 50 million for him?
Yeah, they want big money, Jim. Nathan Ake, another player who's been involved in these discussions that Chelsea have been having with Manchester City. I think he's been told that if the money is right and he wants to seek a new challenge, then Pep Guardiola won't stand in the way of someone who is no more than a squad player with the champions. But they want significant money back. They paid £40 million to sign him from Bournemouth, as we remember. Simon Jordan wasn't convinced by that transfer. Hasn't worked out as well as I thought. But it will take a big offer in the region of £50 million in order for Manchester City to facilitate that move back to Stamford Bridge. Remember, that's where Nathan Ake began his Premier League career. I think at this stage, as we sit here on Friday lunchtime, Matthijs de Ligt looks a more likely arrival at Stamford Bridge. He's keen to link up with Thomas Tuchel, and obviously they need reinforcements to the heart of their defence, having lost both Rudiger and Christensen, who's still waiting to be registered as a Barcelona player because, of course, they've got all kinds of financial problems over in Spain.
Yeah. The lad who I heard was going to go to Lyon suddenly rerouted it to Manchester United. Malacia. Where are we at with this lunchtime?
Yeah, intriguing twist in this one. Manchester United seem relaxed. They're still pretty confident the deal will be done. They've agreed a £13 million fee with Feyenoord, hijacking that move to Lyon for the left-back Tyrell Malacia. It looks like he will probably end up being the first signing of the Ten Hag era, just because Frankie de Jong continues to drag on. Although I reiterate, I've said it every day, that will happen. Be patient, Manchester United fans. But there's some kind of dispute, and maybe Simon's got a view on this, when it comes to representation with Malacia. He's actually affiliated to the same agent who is working on the de Jong deal, but he's now decided by all accounts that he wants his dad to handle his financial affairs. That's quite commonplace in England, by the way. I think Declan Rice has a family member doing his agency work. So too does Raheem Sterling. I know some established agents are quite worried.
He'll sign a contract,
exactly, Danny. If he's contractually obligated to an agent,
and generally they're 2-year deals. And even if the deal's been agreed, even if he walks away now, his old agent will still have to be paid for that, because they're the one that initiated the deal.
Yeah. I think you're right, and that's why Manchester United believe that it won't hamper their attempts.
An agent going unpaid, Simon.
No, of course not.
But that's the way it works, Simon, isn't it? You know, if you're my agent and you've introduced me to a club, and I go, actually, I'm going to sack you tomorrow, I'm going to use somebody else, you still get paid for that deal.
I mean,
contracted to.
Yes, you would be. If your contractual arrangement expired and you moved to the next club, you wouldn't get that deal, because ultimately the agent would have been out of contract. But by definition, you know, the agent, if he wants to come out of his contract with an agent, he's going to have to pay to come out of his contract.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness for that. Can't have the agent not getting paid. And Wan-Bissaka, are we getting news this lunchtime on him?
Yeah, a little bit of news, Jim. I think Wan-Bissaka is one of those players that Erik ten Hag can't necessarily guarantee a place in his first team next season. He had a really poor year, you have to say, last season. He wasn't the only Manchester United player that struggled, but he's committed. He wants to stay and fight for his place in the revolution. I think he returned for pre-season training early. He's been training throughout the summer to get himself up to speed, and he wants to prove to Erik ten Hag that he does have a future at Manchester United. I don't really know where he goes if he doesn't, because they spent big money, United. If they sold him, they're not going to get back what they paid Simon's old club, Crystal Palace. He's on decent wages as well, so they will probably have to supplement them. So maybe it suits both parties. They try and find a role for Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and I think you have to give him credit that he wants to stay and fight for his place.
Oh, right. Okay. Did you ever come back for pre-season training early, Danny?
I never stopped, to be honest. I had 3 or 4 days off and then just kept training all through the summer. Go back.
That's exactly what I would have done.
It's such an easy model. Go back, because the first 3 or 4 days of pre-season, all the coaches, and especially if they're new coaches, new people coming in, they're going, oh, he looks fit, he looks good. And instantly, it puts you 2 or 3 places up the pecking order.
Yes.
It's really not difficult.
Good sense. I saw you shaking your head at Wan-Bissaka. Might find out why in a second. We're back shortly.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.